Greetings, everyone. Rajee Narinesingh here, transgender activist, author, spiritualist, actress, show host, reality TV personality, and outreach advocate for Trans Social, a trans-led, trans-focused organization. So I'm coming to you from my very humble home here in South Florida, USA. And how many of you all have Netflix? Well, I have it. They have some good movies and shows on there. Recently, they added a show called Dahmer about Jeffrey Dahmer. I don't know if you all know who he is, but for those of you who don't, he was a white American gay man who would lure men of color back to his apartment, predominantly black men. He drugged them, raped them, killed them, and sometimes even eat them. Talk about insane. Oh my God. So on episode 2, that's where I'm at, like in the middle of episode 2, I started thinking about the close calls I've had. Now, granted, I've never hooked up with a cannibalist. Well, at least I don't think I have. Oh my God. But I've had some close calls. And really, do we know people when we first meet them? I mean, do we really know them, who they are? And for that matter, sometimes you'll be friends with someone and you don't even know what that person is, who they are, their intentions, what they're into. So it can get pretty scary. Now, I talked about the time I was brutally beaten up in Miami by some guys. I had to really fight for my life that night. I've talked about that a number of times, but I've had some other close calls. One time I went to a club, I was partying, and a lot of times after the club, we would hang outside by our cars. And so this particular night, I'm hanging out. I had my door open and the window down, and I'm just kind of leaning against my car, hanging out. And all of a sudden, I see a car driving up slowly. Instinctually, I felt like something wasn't right. So I jumped in my car and closed the door. But by the time I did that, one of the guys had jumped out and he had the gun through the window to my head. So I literally go berserk. I'm screaming and yelling. He's like, bitch, shut up. And I'm just losing it. And in the middle of that, I actually had turned on my car and put the car in reverse, but I didn't even realize I did that. And I'm screaming, and all of a sudden, I just floor the gas. Well, my car did a 360. It spun around, and then I hear one of the guys in the car say, man, let's get the fuck out of here. That bitch is crazy. Oh, so I survived that one. But it was a close call, and it's something. I've had my moments. I mean, for those of you all who know my story, I've been through some rough times, and I've had moments where I felt like giving up, I considered suicide. I never actually went to do it, but I had thoughts about it, about ending it. But I'm going to tell you, when someone else dares to take your life into their hands, in that moment, every fiber, every core, all of your essence wants to live. You are fighting for life. It's like in the moment, it's like, oh no, you are not going to play God and take my life. So yeah, really, I mean, it's just amazing how that is. So another time, met this guy, seemed really nice. We went out on a date. I'm in his car. He's driving. I wanted to go get something to eat and kind of chill, and he had another thing on his mind. Well, we would have probably got there eventually, but he was ready to get there right away, ASAP. So he pulls into this warehouse area, very secluded, no one around. It's late at night. He wants to get out and have sex in by one of the warehouses. So I'm like, I don't feel comfortable here. No. And I wanted to go get something to eat, but it was like he didn't want to spend any money on me. And I was like, what kind of date is this? I could have just had him come over and we could have, did our thing. So anyway, he's like, all right, but I could tell he was getting angry. So he pulls out, we're riding down the road about 2-3 blocks down. He slams on the brakes and he says, bitch, get the fuck out. So I look at him and I'm like, really? You're going to leave me in the middle of nowhere? He's like, get the fuck out. And the compartment in between the seats, he lifts that up and he pulls the biggest freaking gun out and points it to my head. And in that moment, I'm like, oh my God, my life flashed before my eyes. So I'm looking in his eyes and I'm like, all right, I'm going to get out. And so I grab my purse, I open the door, I get out, I slam the door, well, close the door. And I'm looking at him and he's still pointing the gun through the window at me. And I'm thinking, oh my God, this guy could shoot and kill me and no one would ever know who did it. It's late at night, we're in a secluded area, nobody is around, and they would just find my dead body on the sidewalk. So I look at him and I'm like, all right, I got out the car, go. So he pulls off. Well, I tell you, as soon as he turned the corner and he couldn't see me out the rear view, I took off in the other direction. I was zigzagging, going down side streets, because all I could think is he's going to change his mind and be like, I'm going to go back and kill that bitch. And so I was running all over, trying to get myself lost from this man. I survived. Oh, God. Another time, meet this guy online. And listen, y'all, I'm a woman of a certain age, although I'm still a cougar, y'all, don't get it twisted. But no, I'm a woman of a certain age, and, you know, when I was younger, maybe I took some risk, but I try to be a little more careful now. You know, when you're young and dumb, and you're like, oh, I'll be okay. But anyway, meet this guy online, seems really nice, very professional, business type looking guy. So we're talking for a couple days, and then he's wanting to get together. So I just oh, whatever, I invite him over. So it's around 10 o'clock at night. He pulls in a truck, gets out. I open the door. I'm looking at him and he's walking in. So I go to sit on the sofa. So when he walks in, he closed the door and he doesn't lock it. And I say, lock the door. And I watch him turn the knob. So then he's fidgety, walking around my living room and looking up. I said, are you okay? And I'm like, listen, we are two adults here. If you are no longer interested, you can leave. It's fine. No. I like you. But meanwhile, still pacing up and down. So he's like, I just got to go to my car. I forgot something. So I heard a voice. Get up, take off your heels, because I had high heels on. Yeah, I was trying to be a little sexy. So I'm following him to the door. He opens the door and jumps out on the porch. And meanwhile, there's two guys on the side of my door. They were hiding in his truck. So one is on one side, one's on the other, and they pop in front of the door and they have bandanas around their face. And the one punches me real hard and I fall to the ground. So I start screaming. Now, half of my body's inside of the apartment, the other half's outside on the porch. And I kept thinking, I can't let them get me inside. Because there's three guys, once they get me in, Lord knows what they'll do to me. Rob me, rape me, kill me, who knows? So I'm screaming. He's like, bitch, shut up. And he's punching me and beating me out. And I'm screaming. The more he tells me to shut up, the louder I get. And so all of a sudden, the other guys, they take off because by this time, I'm screaming so loud, they probably think, okay, the neighbors have heard her. Someone's called the police. So he looks and he's like, wait a minute, where'd my homeboys go? So he gets up and takes off running. I jump up and slam the door and lock it. I survived the close calls. You know, a lot of times in life, this life is such a journey, and sometimes you think you're in a particular situation and it's okay, everything's copacetic, and then it does a 360 and you end up in a situation you're like, what the hell is this? I tell you. But again, I survived. Thank you, God. Thank you, angels. Someone's been looking out for me, and I am so grateful. I know I am someone, as hard as my life has been, I am someone that has truly been blessed, and I have a lot of gratitude in my heart. So on that note, I want to wish you all love, happiness, peace, good health, prosperity, and many wonderful blessings. And check out Dahmer. Also, Thai Cave Rescue is good. And Jazzman Blues on Netflix. Bye!